because it's almost like there's an aspect of us that we want to be light enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heal our shadows enough to manifest then the relationship, because healing the shadows while in the relationship, sometimes it's even harder because you have each other's.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just it becomes like also the collective of the two of you, so it's harder to intune. Pick up their energy, they pick up your energy, you share energy, they go somewhere and they pick up whatever their entities and things like that. But at some point we also have to let go of that, because it's a control, because whoever we manifest, that we are rejecting an aspect of ourselves by thinking that way. If I manifest somebody, then I have to make peace that they can reflect my shadows, and I need to learn to like, it's all about healing trust, this whole reality. Like, they will love me with both, as long as we're growing together and we're a vibrational match to our shadows and our light, but not where the shadow is like that you have to hide your shadow. That's what I don't want to do anymore. That's what it is, because we want to become transparent, but to become transparent, that is like our desire, right? Waking up, like, we want to, but to become transparent still in this 3D reality is hard. So it's almost like we want this transparent relationship, but the 3D aspect, memory, all this traumas, everything in our DNA is keeping us in fear of what that will bring in the physical. And love, like, we want, we're afraid to let people love us as we are.
I feel that I have every possible relationship that exists on this 3D reality in this lifetime and other lifetimes, that I feel like I don't even know what kind of relationship I would like to have, because I can only know what I already experience. So I just don't know how the relationship would look. And as much I would love to have a partner, at the same time I feel like I feel bored.
That's not just with the relationship, that's just us as the physical relationship is just a micro manifestation of our creator's desire to express itself. Yes, in this 3D form, that's what it is. It's the traumas. It's not the good parts that are keeping you like, oh, I've experienced everything there is to experience here and stuff. It's mostly because why? Even if like you already experienced an amazing feeling, if it was amazing, okay, give it to me again. It's like having another orgasm. Why not? Like, if it feels good, it feels good. But basically what you're desiring, and we don't know completely what we're even desiring, because the whole spirit realm is starting to open to us, right? Which is new. So it's something that we cannot even define. There's that aspect.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I cannot define.
Know. But maybe we don't have to define it too. And whatever will present itself, including the spirit, the whole esoteric spirit realm, it kind of started showing itself too. Yes, we reached the we had to reach out halfway, but that's pretty much what you have to do. The same thing. To manifest the relationship, we don't have to visualize perfectly exactly what it is that we want. It's reaching out halfway and having trust and clarity in that higher aspect, heart part. Like, I want somebody that will match my heart frequency. And I guess the intentions of, because sometimes there's certain people that will manifest in our life because we have certain missions to accomplish together. Not every relationship has to be necessarily at every single point just this, lovey kind of like, let's travel together, let's make love and look into each other's eyes. And
it doesn't matter what, long as you feel happy and fulfilled.
No,
you know
actually.
What I mean?
No.
I don't want to be with someone that I don't feel happy, for sure.
No, yes, but yes, happy, fulfilled, but I agree, joy is your meter, so I don't mean no to what you're saying, but adding the layers, trusting sometimes
But there is the lesson still there.
There might be, okay, so this is what I'm saying. There might be, I might in my mind have this, like, my human mind right now, idea of this partner, right, that I'm going to create. He's going to be, like, an artist just like me, and we're going to, like, create our stuff together, da-da-da-da-da. But then all of a sudden, let's say I manifest somebody that, they have some of those qualities, but they're much more, like, grounded, and they can actually do stuff on the computer, and, they're not as struggling with, like, 3D human kind of things, and they push me to help me with, like, some direction. They might actually be, in that moment, the perfect manifestation, and maybe together with those two energies, we can put forward into, physical reality. So waving around her energies again. You hypnotize me. You just don't want me to see it. When I start talking, I can't shut up, and then you go, and I'm like, I'm getting sleepy. They might be the actual person that helped you.
I understand.
It's like next step of. Yeah, it's like we can see those things in retrospect, Like, I looked at Daniel Carpelas, my boyfriend from high school, that I didn't treat the best at that time, and I realized he was my angel at that time. He was more mature in many ways than I was. He was good for me, like, in the sense where I stayed out of trouble. He taught, he tutored me in math, and he had a good heart, and I feel like if he wasn't there were certain potentials that I was going to experience that he shielded me
I feel this
from.
way about him too. I know that you're not going to be together with him because I don't see the,
it was kind of like I felt with him.
Yeah,
like,
but I feel that you were safe, and also I sense some kind of, energy that he might turn to later in his life.
It was a good lesson for me too, how he stood up for himself, for my bullshit, because I was in my, more ego kind of place then, and so I had to become more humble and learn my lessons in that kind of way. So it's like we were just talking about Daniel 2 days ago. I didn't even look at it from that perspective of, like, wow, I always, like, but now I see it so from an even bigger distance. Like, no, he was like, because it's almost like in some way he's this kind of memory of like, wait, I was with a Daniel, like, it's like almost like the person I am today. It hardly can remember or connect with who I was then, or I don't even remember what we talked about.
That's
together.
what I told you at the beginning, that I'm looking at my life, that my past I create, and I don't even feel connected to my past, to the person who was that at that time.
I wanted to lower his vibration in some way, because I remember, like, he was very strong about, because he had alcoholism and stuff in his family, and he didn't drink. All his family, like his brother did and everything, and he, in high school, was like, no. And he held it strong to his friend, like all his friends, with the peer pressure. And I remember even me, because I was smoking weed at the time, and I remember we were driving around in this car, we were listening to Tupac, and I was stoned, and I wanted him to, like, be on my level so bad. And I remember several times, like, trying to, like, get him to be more bad, but he didn't. And yeah, that fire for me wasn't really there, but he was a healer for me in some way. And maybe energetically I was a healer for him, because I was always, I am who I am. I was always a whatever, a
and I
Lyran,
remember he was a
Starseed.
virgin. You were his first girl.
Yeah, I was his first, and yeah, and I already had, you know, Wukash before. I was in a year first love relationship, and I don't feel in that regard for myself that he
got the best experience.
Yeah, get the best, that because my heart wasn't as there. But then again, if our souls made some agreements and everything, I feel like it doesn't matter, because our energetic bodies, our higher selves, our spirit guides, all of them are present if you're whatever connecting with somebody in that way. So even if my teenager self was like, okay, still got stuff to learn, you know, comparing him in my mind to like Wukash, my first, or whatever it was, I don't remember, I'm just making stuff up. But all of our other aspects are also there during that interconnected, intimate moment. And maybe we were balancing my higher self, you know, like whatever are those Elohim and Lyran energies, all that streams of DNA, like they can be on another level activating certain aspects of him that will take years to manifest more in like a some kind of form, right? And maybe his aspects were humble, like helping me, even how when I had my reading and I asked what are my dark sides, and you know, Debbie, who reads the Akashic Records, and she goes into like galactic lives and everything, she said that I was in a lot of, you know, leadership positions, and anytime you're in a leadership position, there will always be times where we've had to, you know, ask ourselves like when our ego is creeping in, and you know, and I think he was a good person to steer me from that, especially after coming back from Poland, where I was, you know, at that time 14, 15, 16 years old. I was like a superstar over there, being from America, and you know, at that time it wasn't the same as it is now, where people in Poland are much more awakened up, and they actually look at Americans in a lot of ways like, wow, we're kind of stupid. But then it was like everybody, you know, the clothes that I had, now you could buy everything in Poland. Then no, you would send me packages, and like I went to school with kids that would wear the same thing all year long. Like they had one outfit that they would come to school with. That's all they had. And I see my shitty moments. I remember like my jeans that I let some girl borrow, and she like hardly had anything, and I wanted them back, and she like was like sneaking, like I don't know, maybe she did something to them, or she didn't want to give them back to me. But like now it's like I've just let go of it, like let her have it. They mean more to her, but it was just my like arrogance in that moment that like, you know, they're mine. And remember the Diesel, you actually even were like, where's the Diesel pants I got you? Remember these pants from Diesel that had like these they were specific, they were like jeans, but they had a bunch of like ripped pieces coming off from the sides.
It must be very important at that time.
Yeah, different, but yeah, no, just relationships, like it takes sometimes, you know, certain things we see. Generally, retrospect is important. It's important to look at our life backwards and then re-look at it, because every time you re-look at it, like, you know, we've talked about Daniel, we've talked about our relationship, but the new layer of perception comes. Now I see it from another layer, and sometimes time needs to just go by, and it's not really time, because time's an illusion. It's our activation of self, our frequency. As our frequency shifts, we get access to new layers of looking at things in retrospect. You can see, that's why you see, in some way we are recreating the past and the future because of our retrospect of it. I don't even know exactly what I just said, but yeah. Like, I'm not going to try to human analyze that right now, because it gets in the way, like, but we are, you know, time is a hard thing to, I feel like usually I have these feelings of when I'm saying something, the time dissolves for the moment that I'm saying them, and then right after my human linear part pops in, and I'm just like, wait, but how? So, but we are. That's why it's important to, it's never too late. The way they say it's never too late to say I'm sorry. It's never too late to, it's not. Even when somebody is gone on the other side, yes, it is too late in some way. You're not going to reverse, our human linear perception of time. But by you recognizing the mistakes, let's say, that you've made, or something that you could have done different, there is an aspect of you that's actually creating that.
Yeah, that's what you just explain what you just say before and say you're not gonna grasp this, but you creating new reality in that moment. It's like, that hospital, we did that, moments in hospital when I was there. We create new possibility.
Yeah, we consciously sat down and relived in some way that, and added just recognition, because, okay, so what happens is...
Yeah, we are the dreamers, and we dreaming right now new reality. Going backward, understanding from different layers our experiences.
Pulling from the backward.
Yeah, and bringing
past.
Actually the essence of that experience. We didn't know about essence. We just live very shallow.
You're actually merging
It's like Leonard Cohen poetry. Mm-hmm. We understand them different because it's encoded. You have almost you can read this on
it's encoded in me.
Yeah. But so
I'm accessing my code.
You accessing the
so
code,
I can
so
read
you can
new layers of his poetry.
Exactly.
And recognize that it's almost my poetry.
Yeah.
And but because in the now, whatever is your I am presence, your point of perspective, that is the being that is like this vessel that can bring through the infinite potential of the source, right? But we're like a particular stream of source, which is our stream of experience. Like, let's say physically, we've had certain experiences. So by looking to the past becomes like a teacher, and we merge that past with the now awareness, then whatever my conscious awareness of the I am presence is, which is creating I get confused if that's if there's 4 or 3 timelines, because I feel like that there are codes from also my future that are right now simultaneously. They help me, my future actually self, in this I am present moment, see things from that type of retrospect, of all of a sudden I see, wow, Daniel was my protector, my angel, That's in some way me connecting to my future self wisdom also.
Like you say, we're merging.
And so there's the reason why also we recreate, let's say, new potentials, and let's say I'm sitting here and I'm recognizing, right? I'm taking a moment and my conscious self recognizes Daniel, let's say, as that. The unseen world, which exists all the time around us, Daniel has a whole spirit world realm that's around him. All of his past, present, future selves, and I have it the same. There's a whole reality in the unseen. We don't see it in the physicality, but that is what is actually shifting. You see? That's what okay, I think I got it. It's not like by me recognizing Daniel as, let's say, the protector and everything, all of a sudden, poof, this manifestation is right, let's say, before me, where this whole new potential is. The way that it works is the whole spirit realm, the unseen world, is hearing, picking up on that frequency. So they are shifting, and I'm shifting the potentials, and so are his, right? And that spirit realm, they feel seen all of a sudden. All those energies that didn't feel recognized from the spirit realm, they start feeling recognized. So we are opening them to start creating different desires as well, like opening up to different greater potentials. And eventually they materialize into the spirit realm, into some kind of form. So it's not like the same, let's say, story is recreated again and it's me and him, but something is slightly different. No, it's more like all those energies are responding to who we are, our consciousness, our perception, desire, and then they, with their still free will, that's why there's nothing set in like those energies, and they start, let's say, from the unseen world, they start becoming seen. They come in for their experience. Then they create an experience with that part of me that was able to recognize. I shifted their potential of experience. And then it manifests into whatever is that experience.
You start fishing in different pool.
Yeah, it's like a changing of... Yeah, I mean, it sounds probably like all over the place in some way, but...
No, actually,
yeah,
it's pretty clear, but it is... I will not be able to understand this not so long ago.
I still, right now it's like I feel tapped in, so I'm talking, fast, and it's just like... And I feel like it's so simple, but then as soon as you switch back into like the human mind, it kind of feels like... You're right when you sink back into that kind of density and stuff. You're like, what are you talking about unseen? It sounds like so abstract that for a second you're like, am I like what? Well, so what? What's it all matter? Like death and spirit, and then it all seems like just such a
unimportant almost.
Yeah, like it seems like okay, well, fine, but no, it actually like. From the macro perspective, because when you connect to that and you feel, I can see it, I feel it, like wow, like you see how amazing it is. And yeah, from our point it seems insignificant. Oh well, who cares now that I recognized it? I still did this and to him in the past, and da 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 da. But that's actually such a freeing thing, I feel like, for people to if they start believing that way, you realize like you can say the things that you didn't. You can forgive yourself, because the most incredible thing is you, in retrospect, seeing your own mistake. That is more powerful and amazing than you being some perfect being that has never made that mistake. The sad part is if you cannot recognize your mistake ever, and you keep making it and keep making it and keep making it and keep making it.
Well, when you recognize your own mistake, you know that you have a different desire for creation. You know that when you're going to have another opportunity, there is a possibility that you're going to see that unseen word in the story. That you will be able to observe and say, okay.
I know what it is, you see, too. There's the human side of us that I feel like, who cares if I'm creating something for whatever timeline, future self or whatever, because it doesn't feel like it's when is that going to be me? It's our humanness back to the micro. We work that way, out of sight, out of mind. We see how easily it is for us to, watch the news and see that somewhere down the street somebody is suffering, and then we're poof back in our own little bubble reality. That doesn't affect me, really. We're very wired here in this DNA form and trained to be very, if something isn't instant gratification, you see, that's why it also feels unimportant, insignificant, because you want the instant gratification, in the sense of, okay, I'm going to think this, and that means that this timeline is like actually shifting, and me and Daniel are now, I see him as this, it seems abstract to think that I'm shifting something on some future me, past me, the same as like the way that we, harm our bodies. And because it feels like, when you're, let's say, a teenager and your mother is telling you stop laying in the sun for hours, you're gonna get wrinkles, and it just feels like, what are you talking about? That's never gonna, you don't think about the consequences of things, really. Like we're wired, or the consequences that your behavior is, how it's affecting others, and that also exists in that kind of spirit realm. We're trying to heal that, actually. Like, we're trying to merge that back together, because that is a disconnection of our belief system. That's why it's hard for us to even believe that simple retrospect intention, looking to something in the past, taking a moment to even, either in your mind, or it's more powerful if you speak it out loud, but even in your mind, saying, wow, I was an asshole in that moment. And you see something and you recognize some beauty or some strength in someone from before that you didn't recognize then, that actually you are affecting yourself, and it is, we don't believe that it is now, that we are each other, that we are our past and future self, and that actually past and future self is actually feeling something. Because, all right, we'll get there when we get there, then we'll deal with the, you stretch the rubber band of like how much further you can go into the dark, like pushing your luck, so to speak, with lots of weight. This is, again, I'm talking like micro, macro at the same time. So in the micro, addictions and things like that, you just keep going further. You think, things aren't going to affect you. You stretch the band out. And then I think in this reality, it's important to distinguish the fact that we went so far into that stretching of the band that I feel like there is such thing as being a victim, and being like, because when we separate so far from who we are, you cannot expect a being that has practically no memory to, it's not a fair game here to act. They have to be helped, reminded who they are. That is the responsibility of being also a collective energy.
Saying.
And
our awakening is when we start recognize others.
Yeah.
That's when you can actually really feel this. That's what I say to you one time. You know how much I love you. And I see you knowing who you are, and then all of a sudden you don't remember anything. Nothing. Like you lost your memory, but I still remember who you are.
Oh, you're talking now, like, not now, you're talking about like more from the higher us.
Yeah, from higher us, yeah. And
so
then
like
I
right
will
now.
say, okay, I'm gonna come to this planet Earth and try to remind her who she is.
Yeah, which then, and we had this discussion, it's funny because you helped me first. The agreement was for you to keep me from remembering who I am, because it would be dangerous at that time with the energies that were not high enough for Starseeds, and so we had to kind of cloak ourselves, like be in a disguise. If my energy was very visible, that I can tap into this or that, I would be even more targeted. So maybe our higher selves knew, okay, you will create, you and my dad will fight or create some level of trauma that will shut down my psychic abilities and things. Then you helped me remember who I am, start healing. You started bringing the spiritual books. That was like you that planted that. Then I started activating my codes, and poof, I started reminding you who you are, because you started going into all kinds of doubts and things. And I brought in that side that kept kind of like reminding you too, that you are perfect in your imperfection, that you don't have to reach in your physical some kind of godly, state. You are the God with, how you said God doesn't walk with a crooked, back, but actually God does walk with the crooked back and longs for a straight back and longs for a straight back for everybody else. That is the God. That's a stronger God than a God that's already straight and has never been crooked.
I feel like...
I understand your point,
No,
though.
I feel like God can be crooked, but he know why he's crooked, so he still feels straight.
No. God is the
That's how I feel it, you see.
Well, it's not actually about what's God or not God. It's about where lies that
That's what I
honor. Like, who do you honor more? Somebody that has always known that they can just strain themselves whenever they want, right? Or somebody that has forgotten, but they still long for straightness. Somebody that is in darkness and longs for love. That longing is the greatest honor. In some way, that is greater than perfection itself. It's in straightness and, everything that it can be in this perfect form, and it never suffers, and it knows that it can, suffer and always come back.
You just express exactly what I say. You are a God who is crooked, but your strength.
It's again time. Look, we're saying it was different. But it exists simultaneously, because I cannot bring the straightness here or bring love and darkness if a higher aspect of me, because there's no disconnection, doesn't know. And that's what you're saying, the higher aspect of me. That's what you were speaking from, the higher aspect. I was speaking from the micro aspect. The higher aspect, it has to know love to bring love. Even if I've forgotten it, there's the spark of me that remembers love, so I'm bringing it here. That's what God is, and they know who they are. They're in their knowing. But what I'm saying, it just that piece that, let's say that God is looking at this fragment self that doesn't remember who or what they are, that they even are a God. And they're in this darkness, but they're longing for love. They don't remember that there's a higher aspect of them or any of that knows love. Simply, they're just longing, they're creating it, they're in that itself is a whole, I think it's like the essence of this game, like the beauty of this game, like the lesson that Source itself recognized that it didn't know until it fragmented to this layer of disconnection.
I agree.
Okay. I need a break. Yeah? You want to say anything else? Mother dearest? Want to talk some more?
Za 5 minut.
5 minutes? No, most likely I'll just get up.
Moją pościel, bo się muszę położyć.
What?
Ty co słyszysz?
Do you know, should I translate? She just said, give me my bedding because I need to go to bed. And I washed her bedding for her, all nice. Yeah. Me and Mother she's a morning bird and I'm a night owl, so we have come to the conclusion that we need to find a middle ground. Since we're coronavirusing and together 24/7. Which I guess in the higher realms we are anyways. So, that we didn't drive each other nuts yet is pretty impressive.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, lady.